Can't have that on. Good morning, Win Daily, friends, family, loved ones. Happy Halloween. It's November. Hopefully it's almost Christmas, so then we can get the hell out of 2020. Ghost, how we doing? It's the weather day. I guess that's what today is going to go down in infamy. Is that a good phrase? I'm always looking for phrases.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting slate to say the least. A lot of games that we were on early in the week ended up getting pushed aside because of the weather conditions, and we have our pivots ready to go, and definitely makes for an interesting one. Looking forward to it.
All right, first game, Indianapolis, Detroit. The Colts have a 26.25 implied team total. Detroit at 23.25. I don't like a whole lot in this game. I know last week or after last week, I swore off Stafford, so I'm done with him. I'm done with Patricia. I definitely want some pieces of this game. This isn't a game that is going to be a full fade for me by any means. But Phillip Rivers, Matt Stafford, they're out of my player pool. If you want to roll with any of them, don't, because it's Phillip Rivers. And I guess if worst case scenario, you could play Stafford. I think Jason likes Stafford for some reason. I don't know why. But all right. Ghost, is it the day we see Jonathan Taylor freed?
I really hope so. Coming off a bye week, I mean, we know what that does for rookie running backs. We saw what that did for DeAndre Swift. I really hope they end up giving this guy 20 plus touches, and he definitely has the path to get 100 yards and 2 TDs on the ground. If he ends up getting the volume, he's definitely one of my favorite GBP plays of the day. I know that you're overweight on him as well compared to the field, so he's pretty much the only piece that I have from this game. He didn't make my single entry or 3 max builds, but in my 150 max MME, I do have a ton of Jonathan Taylor. I just don't trust either QB here. Detroit refuses to let Stafford absolutely launch the ball multiple times per game. He ended up having a crazy play where rolled out to his left, threw across his body, and made some beautiful throws there, but they just don't let the guys sling it. They're obsessed with establishing the run. So Stafford is going to be out of my player pool as well. And Phillip Rivers must have had a really long night last night. He has 20, 30 kids by now. So that's a whole lot of trick-or-treating. That's a lot of kids waking him up early in the morning. I'm off Phillip Rivers there. Narrative aside, he's just he doesn't look like Phillip Rivers of old there. So give me Jonathan Taylor in this game. And I do like both defenses. I think there will be quite a few turnovers.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers loves to have sex, so congrats to him. That's awesome. Living the life we all want to live, minus being a terrible thrower of the football. But he's old. He had a good career. I think one of my secondary mini stacks, it's definitely not a core play for me, but I do love Jonathan Taylor this week. I think you could play DeAndre Swift. Certainly in season long, you got to play this dude. I would love to run it back with either Galladay or Marvin Jones, depending on your build. I know on FanDuel, I was messing around there this morning. Marvin Jones is so cheap. So you could use him there. Kenny Galladay is a little bit more expensive there, but I think Kenny Galladay on the outside with Rock Ya-Sin and Xavier Rhodes, or the ghost thereof, Xavier Rhodes. You could this is a game without weather. Literally 5 games are in terrible weather situations, so you could certainly get a little bit of exposure to a dome game. It's not like any of these. Indy's defense is really solid, more against the run than the pass. So maybe Patricia figures it out and realizes they have to move the football. That's how they won last week's game. They just started passing the ball like crazy in the fourth quarter and realized people cannot cover Kenny Galladay. The dude makes so many contested catches. Absolute stud. Hawkinson, I'm off him this week. I get it. There's not many tight ends that have the target share that he has, especially in the red zone. So if you want to go with that, I want nothing to do with Trey Burton, Mo Alley Cox, and Jack Doyle. It's literally a 3-headed monster at tight end. Don't go there. I saw a bunch of pictures of people playing Trey Burton this week. I guess if you had to choose one, Burton would be my guy. But that's it. I love Jonathan Taylor. I love pairing him with we'll call it pairing. I'm pairing him up with either Kenny Galladay or Marvin Jones on the other side and just get a little bit of exposure to this game, or just completely fade it. Whatever you want to do. That's how I'm going about it. Either fading it in a lineup or in most lineups and in other lineups with Jonathan Taylor. I'm running it back with Galladay or Marvin Jones, because my script here is if Jonathan Taylor has a ceiling game, Detroit's got to be playing catch up on the back end. I do like Detroit to cover this game as well with the 3 points. The model has them winning by a point. So take that for what it's worth. All right, win game number 1. I don't think this one is as bad. Also, guys, if you got questions, feed them in. Steve, welcome to, I think you're a first timer. That's awesome. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, man, just pop them in the chat. We'd like to get to those as much as possible. And then if anybody has injury information as it comes in, I think that comes in right around 10:30 Central Time, so 11:30 East Coast. We'd love to hear that as well, because obviously we're doing this. We are not looking at injuries. Frank Gore being the main one that I want to see, which is disgusting. We'll get to that. All right, Minnesota, Green Bay. Green Bay, 27-point implied team total. Minnesota, 21. The total in this game climbed down all week with this weather concerns. What are you going here?
I absolutely love Dalvin Cook in this spot. So with the pretty much the three-headed monster of Kareem Hunt, Derrick Henry, Jamal Williams is pretty much up there as well. Josh Jacobs getting a ton of ownership. Alvin Kamara as well. I guess we could throw Gio Bernard in that group as well. Dalvin Cook is going completely overlooked, coming off an injury. So this is what I was saying on Sirius XM when we were on there together yesterday for West Coast, earlier this morning for East Coast. Dalvin Cook has to be 100% healthy in this spot. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be playing. Just signed a mega contract extension. They would not be risking him getting a long-term injury where it affects a longevity of his career or anything like that. So if he's anything under 100%, I don't foresee him playing in this game. They've already said that he is going to play. So I believe the Minnesota Vikings have him at 100% healthy. Mike Zimmer is really fighting for his job here, sitting at 1-6. If they end up going 1-7, not a good look for Zimmer and company there. So give me Dalvin Cook against this Green Bay defense that you could run all over. He's a guy that has multiple performance incentives into his contract as well. So he's going to want to be chasing those and make up for some lost ground that he had with his injury. Absolutely love Dalvin Cook there. And of course, when we're debating Adam Thielen versus Justin Jefferson, it's pretty much who is not going to be lining up against Jair Alexander. And surprisingly, I do give the nod to Justin Jefferson there. So Jair ends up playing just over 97% of his snaps on the outside. So that's where a lot of people end up saying, hey, Adam Thielen has absolutely crushed the slot throughout his entire career. But this season pretty much tells a different narrative. Justin Jefferson's playing just over 27% of the snaps in the slot, whereas Adam Thielen is down to 15%. So give me Justin Jefferson there. Big yard playmaker. The wind is possibly a factor there where, it's not like Kirk Cousins is in the same upper echelon as Russell Wilson or Patrick Mahomes, where he could kind of end up beating it a little bit better. It's by no means is Kirk Cousins an elite quarterback, if we could put it that way. But Justin Jefferson definitely has the nod over Adam Thielen for me today. But the primary exposure for me for Minnesota is going to come in the form of Dalvin Cook. And I'm still all over Davante Adams. I understand the wind is a serious factor here, but Davante Adams doesn't necessarily run the deepest of routes either. He's not somebody that's an absolute burner like a Tyreek Hill, like a Tyler Lockett that tries to get separation within the 1 to 5 yard mark right off the line. So give me Davante Adams. He's going to have a ton of targets over the middle, a lot of short yardage situations where no matter what the weather conditions of this game, they're going to force feed him the ball. And that's something that I'm always interested in, especially when it comes like a guy, Davante Adams, with his ownership trending downward over the last 48 hours. Jamal Williams is another great play here with Aaron Jones out. So limited exposure to this game, but I'm going with all the big dogs. I'm going Jamal Williams, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and of course, Davante Adams.
Yeah, I mean, Davante Adams has a 7.5 catch prop, minus 165 to score. That is juicy. It doesn't matter what the win for this guy. He does run short routes. I think Davante Adams is smash play. And again, like Ghost said, ownership's going way, way down. With Dalvin Cook, you said the thing about them being 1-6. That's what kind of scares me. Like, why would they want to run this guy into the ground if the game gets out of hand? Like, I still think we'll see a little bit of Madison, but he's going to be like 5 to 10% owned. I don't care what ownership projections say today. It's very tough to get Dalvin Cook in your lineup, assuming that you're going to play like a guy like Kareem Hunt or Derrick Henry, or if you're playing Davante Adams. Like, it's going to be really tough to play those guys. So I think Cook is a great play for a GPP. I'm with Ghost as well. I'm going to be off Thielen. I respect Jair Alexander too much, but the same reason we like Davante Adams is probably a good reason to like Thielen with the short routes and everything like that. It's not like Jair Alexander is just going to hold him to nothing. Like, it's, 2010 Revis Island. It's not going to be that like insane of coverage. Thielen's a really good route runner. So I lean Jefferson, but I think Thielen's a really good play here as well for a GP. If you're stacking this game, I think that's how I would go. I wouldn't go out of your way to get Adam Thielen in your lineup. At 7,200, he's probably just a fade for me. But if you're game stacking it, I do think he's in play because of those short routes, and they're going to put him on the inside as well. And Jair Alexander is not going to go to the slot to cover him. So there will be plenty of room for Adam Thielen to do something. Robert Tonyan, Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith. I don't think I really have interest in any of them. I guess Irv Smith's an okay punt at 3K. You really like, especially in cash. I think Steve was asking, you can't really go. Okay, so if I upgrade Brian, he's talking about Harrison Bryant at tight end in cash. Steve's lineup up there he posted is really good cash lineup because it's really just Mims and Bryant are the only punt plays. And Mims, you probably just have to eat in cash. So I just don't see Bryant doing it again. He only ran like 17 or 18 routes last week. Again, because he is a blocker, folks. Tried saying that last week, but the 2 touchdowns, obviously. I did call 1 touchdown. I didn't call 2, so I'm sorry about that. But he is used in the red zone more than the open field. I think Irv Smith's an okay punt in cash if the rest of your lineup is as good as Steve's is up there because it's such a powerful lineup. He's got all 3 big dogs at running back. That's what I really like. And then you can go up to, Gerald Everett. If Higbee's out, it could be worse than Gerald Everett. Next game, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Honestly, I don't have any of these guys in my lineups besides a little bit of Hollywood Brown just because, I play 150 lineups. And if you don't, I don't think you need to make Hollywood Brown a priority. But what are your thoughts there? I'm off of every single person on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm not touching this Pittsburgh offense. I do have a little bit of Lamar Jackson, mostly playing him naked, as we say. I just think that, TJ Watt has a 27% pressure rate off the line. It's the highest through the first quarter of the season that we've seen in the past 10 years. So with the amount of pressure that he's getting off the edge there, I think Lamar Jackson does have a path to an absolute absurd day on the ground here. And if they are going to get it done, I don't really see it happening with Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins or that backfield there. I think Lamar's going to have to run the ball a lot. My main concern here is, does he get the passing yardage and the touchdowns enough to really get us there into that 35 DK point range? That I'm not sure about. But again, anytime you could get a quarterback that could rush for 100 yards at sub 5% ownership definitely has me interested. Mostly playing Lamar naked, but I do have some Hollywood Brown in there as well, similar to you in my 150 max. He's just so fast. There's pretty much nobody that can guard this guy down the field. So anytime you get a guy like that, that's pretty much matchup proof on a go route, I will take some shots on Hollywood Brown as well.
All right, that's it for me. Watch Mark Andrews break the slate, right? One of the days that we don't play him. I mean, he's only 5,800, guys. Like, you're not going to get that good of a price on Mark Andrews ever. So if you want to stack, like, no one's playing Lamar Jackson. What is he? 4% ownership. I'm seeing right now on DraftKings. No one's playing James Conner. I don't know if you want to. There's just too many good running backs on the slate to go there. But Mark Andrews, I mean, tell me you're at least playing one Hollywood Brown Mark Andrews stack with Lamar. Just do one.
I do.
Right?
I do.
Because I don't have any. I do not have one lineup with anybody besides a couple shares of Hollywood Brown in the 150. That is it. So watch them go off. At least you could win, and I'll just sit in the corner and cry. All right, next game. Tennessee, Cincinnati. Our game of the week last week was stacking Cincinnati. They are down 3 linemen. So if Joe Burrow is one of the most popular quarterbacks on this slate, I'm going to be 100% off of him. I don't like saying that because I love Zach Taylor's offense and how much they throw. I don't necessarily love the offense. I love the fantasy production that comes from said offense. But what is the weather in this one? Sustained winds around 20 miles an hour with gusts over 30. If you guys just go to Kevin Roth, ROTH on Twitter. Dude is a weather genius for DFS and everything like that. That should impact your wallet. Everything he posts is free too. So check him out. That's the only thing I use for weather, unless you guys have someone better that we should check out. But I don't see how it gets much better than that guy. Worried about the wind for sure a little bit, but guys like Tyler Boyd, I think, are a focus of my lineup. Gio Bernard, it makes sense for him too with the dump offs and everything. I don't really like him, but this should be a King Henry coming out party again. Rushing prop at 104 yards this morning, by far the most on the slate. Besides the score, it's minus 50 at least, right? Don't go much lower. Yeah, minus 250. Yeah, so Vegas is already projecting him 3 yards over that 3-point bonus on DraftKings. Like, there's not like he starts the game with 3 points pretty much is what they're saying, and that's obviously that could go wrong, but I think that's something I'm going to value heavily today because I don't think there's anybody on this slate with the upside of Derrick Henry against Cincinnati's running defense or lack thereof. What do you like here?
It is November, so it is officially Derrick Henry month. I have so much of this guy. I think I'm well over 60% in my 150 max, and he definitely made both my cash lineup and my single entry build as well. Yeah, all the King Henry that you could get today. Based on the 3 receivers there for Cincinnati, I'm pretty much off T. Higgins. AJ Green is somebody that can
weird price, right? T. Higgins.
Yeah, it's a little weird. AJ Green is kind of enticing, sitting at 4,500 on DraftKings. He's still well underpriced there and well underappreciated. I mean, if you take a look at the guys that he's surrounded by, I mean, you have guys like Tim Patrick, and as much as we love McCole Hardman, he's just not being used in that offense. And both of these guys are more expensive than AJ Green. So you could definitely do a lot worse than AJ Green in that range, but Tyler Boyd has to be the focus here. We've been saying it week in, week out. It's Joe Burrow to Tyler Boyd in the slot.
Finally priced.
Yeah. No, it's okay. That's exactly what I was about to say. They finally priced him accordingly at 6,600. You know what? His ownership will likely be lower than what it would have been if this game was, bright and sunny and all weather conditions were great. Even with the elevated price tag, I think Tyler Boyd would have been pulling some ownership. So definitely take advantage of it there. He's a guy that'll likely get into the double-digit target range. Joe Burrow will not only not have a lot of time to throw the ball, but the wind conditions make for some very questionable deep ball passes. So Tyler Boyd is somebody that really interests me on a slate like this, despite the weather conditions. Gio Bernard is, we ended up fading him in our GBPs. It worked out great until the last second of the game where it still ended up working out great. The whole family ended up having a big weekend, and the 2 of us as well. So I'm not going to complain there, but that last second touchdown definitely hurt a little bit. Outside of that, he just really wasn't that productive. I mean, yes, he caught 5 balls for 59 or 60 yards, something like that. And today he could get a path to a lot of dump offs, but you just can't run on this Tennessee defense right now, or at least not in weather conditions like this. They know that they're going to be running the ball. 3 offensive linemen are out, creates for, again, another situation where you can't run the ball. So I'm going to be underweight on Gio Bernard unless, he ends up having an Alvin Kamara type stat line where he ends up catching, 8 passes to 60, 70 yards and a touchdown, then okay. But right now I'm slightly underweight.
Yeah, I'm to answer, I'm going to call you Gio, sorry, or Gian. I don't know. Let me know how to spell it. I like to get people's names right. That's a good sign of respect. So I respect everybody that's on the show. I greatly appreciate everybody coming on. Yeah, T. Higgins, he's out for me. It's just I'd rather pay up for Tyler Boyd, who I think's in a wonderful, wonderful spot, or AJ Green, 4,500. Like Go said, it's Hardman, and Tim Patrick, who's probably out today anyway. Like, there's nobody down there. I think AJ Green's probably a lock for me in cash too. The dude has 24 targets in the last 2 games. 24 targets. I think that's only second to Devontae Adams may have got 24 targets last week. But at 4,500, that's just a bad price for AJ Green. I think if you use AJ Green and Mims in your cash games on DraftKings, you could do a absolute shit ton with your lineup. You could do so many different things. You can get Henry. I think the question for me in cash is either Henry or Devontae Adams. I haven't decided yet. Probably won't decide till 5 minutes before kickoff, and then 1 minute into kickoff, I'll be regretting it because that's how I usually work in my mind there. But yeah, I think AJ Green, 100% Dre. Definitely cash viable. I think if you go AJ Green and Mims, like that is as low as you go. Get a bunch of studs elsewhere. You can't play like Bourne in that lineup as your wide receiver 3. You've got to go get a stud like Adams, or maybe go mid-tier with like Keenan Allen, and because he's super popular today too. For cash, that's the only way I'd play him. And then just load up on the 3 studs at running backs. Yeah, Mims and Bourne. I was looking at this myself. I do not like 2 guys with that low of a floor. So I think it's one or the other, in my opinion. If you want to play them both, I have built that lineup and looked at it. It does look sexy, but the rest of it, like, if you get 2 shitty games out of Mims and Bourne, you're done. You cannot have 2 guys lay an egg. You can afford 1 guy laying an egg, but Yeah, I don't know. I do not like using both of them. What about you, Ghost? That's a really good question, though. He's not the only one out there thinking about that. 'Cause I swear to
I'm
God, I was looking at it last night. I was like, if I go Mims and Bourne, I could get everybody I want, but that's dumpster diving there, man.
It's a nice build. I mean, you could pretty much get Kittle, Devontae Adams, 3 stud running backs, and you end up going Jimmy G at quarterback. But I'm off Kendrick Bourne today. We're going to talk about that a little bit when we discuss San Fran, Seattle. But to keep it short and sweet for the time being, I'm off Kendrick Bourne today, whether it's cash or GBP. I have 0% Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, I don't think you want to play both those guys. Put it in, put your lineup down and see what it projects out to be. If it's over like 155 with Mims and Bourne, I think you could run it. But other than that, I do not want to do that. Burrow ownership is right around like 10 to 12% right now. I'm seeing playing Aguilar and Carr. There's like 50-mile-an-hour winds and snow in that game. That is a ballsy move. I would get off of that, but your call, man. No one's going to play them anymore. So it's a good spot for that in ownership regards. I could drop Waller. I could drop from Waller, then Irv Smith or Brian. I think you just got to play Waller, man. He's getting 7-8 targets no matter what. Not many tight ends can say the same. Moving on, Johnny Smith, super cheap. We could talk about him for a minute. He's probably viable in cash at 4,100. I personally do not like him, but it's the cheapest we're going to get, and tight ends absolutely destroy Cincinnati. They gave up 3 touchdowns last week, 2 to Bryant, 1 to Njoku. Jonnu is a factor in this offense in the red zone, so he should be in a great spot to score a touchdown. You got any love for Jonnu?
I do, especially if you're in the lineups where you're fading Derrick Henry, or at least you're limiting exposure, possibly in a 150 max. I would definitely recommend playing him in your single entry and 3 maxes. But again, if you do have a lineup where you don't have Derrick Henry, if someone's getting that touchdown pretty much inside the 5-yard line, I don't really see anybody else getting it other than Jonnu Smith. AJ Brown is an absolute athletic freak of nature, but at the same time, Jonnu is a massive target there in the flat. So I wouldn't play him and Derrick Henry in the same lineup, but wherever you're not playing Henry, Jonnu Smith is a great hedge to that offense.
All right, let's do it. AJ Brown, great spot too. I don't think the win's going to matter to him. I mean, he could catch a receiver screen and take it 80 yards to the house. You've seen this guy, and his yards after catch is just insane. All right, Las Vegas, Cleveland, shit ton of wind. Let's see what the weather says for this one. All right, sustained winds of 25 to 30 miles an hour, gusts of 45, deep passes, and there could be snow. Or deep passes obviously impacted, and there could be snow. That sounds awful. Give me all the Kareem Hunt. That's it. That's all I want for this game. You could play Josh Jacobs, but I'm not playing Jacobs and Hunt together. It just seems like a really counterproductive stack for both running backs that have a ceiling game. They could both get 20 points, sure, but when we're playing Kareem Hunt at this ownership, he's like 35% owned. I'm going to have 80% Kareem Hunt today. I need him to go for 30. So if he goes for 30, I do not see Josh Jacobs doing that on the other side. And the one thing, Waller, good call, Dre. Love Waller. I think that is my favorite mini stack right there. Is Kareem Hunt and then Waller on the other side. I don't think this weather affects Waller at all. I think it limits his ceiling a little bit because I don't think there's any tight end on the slate. If Jamal Adams is out, that can match what Kittle's about to do, or a guy like Kelsey with the way that Greg Williams and his defense just completely avoid covering tight ends. They give him like a 10-yard cushion on each side. It's the weirdest thing ever, and Mahomes is going to tear that apart. But, yeah, Kareem Hunt, Darren Waller, that's all for me. I'm out on every single player on Cleveland outside of Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. Give me all the Kareem Hunt imaginable today. I think I'm well over 40% exposure to him. Touches are going to be through the roof there, and even the dump-off screen passes, they're going to want to get him into open space. You could run all over this Las Vegas defense. So Kareem Hunt's definitely a priority for me in every single lineup that I make, whether it's cash, single entry, or GPP. I don't really care what his ownership ends up being. I think he's going to be one of, if not the best play on the slate there with Derrick Henry. So that combo is something that I have a ton of. And then Waller on the other side, if there's anybody that's going to get short passes, it's going to be Waller rather than someone like Hunter Renfrow out of the slot. So give me Darren Waller's targets are through the roof, and Derek Carr really trusts this guy. So Darren Waller is someone that I have a lot of interest in. On the other side, in my 150 max, I didn't go crazy. I just made 1% of my lineups with Devontae Booker as well. Considering Josh Jacobs is banged up, if you want to if you are making 150 lineups, just make at least one with Devontae Booker, in case, Josh Jacobs ends up getting a little injured. You never know. His knee is limited, and he just hasn't looked that good in the past 2 weeks. Devontae Booker has some big playability, so are you playing him in single entry or 3 max? Absolutely not. Don't be throwing your money away. But in 150 lineups, I have 1% with Devontae Booker in it.
All right. I can't get behind that. But Josh Jacobs he's coming off the field on third down recently. His last game snaps a third down, super low. The game before that, super low. So 3 down back that we love, Josh Jacobs, in the beginning of the season. It seems like that's, I don't know. It could just be for injury and game script, but they got to get this guy the ball. Which cheap tight ends are the best? For me, honestly, Ben, it's going to be Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, 4,200, 4,100. I think that's probably as low as I'll go. There's really no 3K punts that I like. I guess Irv Smith again, but Irv Smith runs deep routes for a tight end, so I don't think I want to get behind that today in that weather. So I think it's just those two, Hunter Henry or Mike Gesicki's 4,900. We'll get to him in a bit. But Jonnu Smith at 4,100 is pretty much a free square on DraftKings, so go with that. We'll get to that one. New England, Buffalo. I'm throwing this game out the window. I'm not playing anybody. I guess if you needed a punt, Jacoby Myers at 3,500 should get 6-7 targets. But if you could figure out the Pats offense and how to handicap it any single year, then, ever since Gronk left, it's impossible to predict that offense.
I'm completely off this game. The only exposure I have to it is that I have the over on Josh Allen's rushing prop. That's it.
All right. There you go. Moving on. Kansas City as a 20-point favorite against the Jets. Kansas City 34.5 implied team total. I do like Noah Font-Warren. I just saw that comment come in. We'll get to that game. Kansas City is a 20-point favorite. I think Kelsey absolutely goes nuts early in this game, because if you watch Greg Williams and the way that he aligns his defense, I don't know, the safety doesn't do anything on the tight end, and their linebackers suck. So Kansas City should just step on the throat early in this game and get a huge lead. So even if you do play Mahomes, I think him at, what is he like? He's 8 to 10% ownership. So it's not, I thought he was going to be at 4 to 5. So I do love Mahomes. I think that's a really good spot for him. Even if we only get 3/4 of him, that should be plenty with how, it's the best quarterback against the worst defense in the NFL. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. What are your thoughts on this one?
If Lev Bell wasn't in town, I'd be all over CEH in a spot like this. The Chiefs have actually been really committed to building that running game. So, but Lev Bell complicates things going back to face Adam Gase and the Jets there. So I wanted to get your take on the revenge narrative in that spot. You gonna have any Lev Bell?
Yeah, I have a ton of Lev Bell just because I need value. And at 4,600, I'll play him. His rushing prop's 40 yards. I think he's a 1.5 catch prop. His prop's nothing crazy, but his touchdown odds went from plus 130 down. Now it's minus 115. So everybody's betting that Lev Bell gets a touchdown. It makes perfect sense. He's got to score a touchdown in this game. The only thing I worry, Andy Reid doesn't strike me as a dickhead coach to be to force feed Bell you're getting one against Adam Gase. You can go stare at him or give him the bird, whatever you want to do. Lev Bell. I don't see Andy Reid being that guy. I think Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's in a great spot, and no one's going to play him. But Lev Bell at 4,600, he's going to get touches. He's going to be out on the field for at least 40% of the snaps. So, and he's going to be the goal line back. So I think Lev Bell is fine. I don't think that's a punt. I don't think you need to worry about playing Lev Bell at 4,600. Just do it. If you need the savings, there's not many. If you're getting down that low, it's him. Well, Michael Pirine, who I like a ton if Frank Gore's out. If Frank Gore's still in, I still like Pirine a bunch. You can run all over Kansas City. Most teams can. Obviously, the Jets probably will not be good at anything that they do on offense. But I like Pirine a ton. He is one of my 1% play that I need a lot for lineups that I can't even afford Lev Bell. I can only get a guy at 4K to 4,300. But Michael Pirine is that guy. Maybe Tevin Coleman, but who knows what to expect from Kyle Shanahan. It's similar to the Patriots. I have no idea how to handicap that backfield. Whoever does get the carries for San Fran's going to ball out. They do it every single week. But if Frank Gore's out, LaMichael Pirine is going to get 85% of the offensive snaps. He's going to get a ton of pass catching. He is going to get a lot of run in the running game. No pun intended. Actually, pun intended, probably. Am I crazy for liking LaMichael Pirine as much as I do?
No. If there's one, I guess we could call it a weakness of this Kansas City defense, it's their run game. So, if they want to score any points in this game possible, they got to force feed this guy the ball. I really hope Frank Gore is out, because if we see another 15 to 20 touch game from Frank Gore, I'm going to lose my mind instead of giving Pirine the ball. So I am on board with it, especially as a 1% play. You could definitely do a whole lot worse in this range. I mean, if we're talking about a complicated San Fran backfield, a carousel out in Seattle as well. There's not many people at 4,300 that have the upside of LaMichael Pirine in this matchup. So I'm all aboard, especially at 1%. This could be this could be the guy that can really get your lineups to the top. So I am on board with your call there.
So where's Sia? Sia's our injury guy. It's 10:30 Central Time. I live in so that's what I go with. News should be out. We need to know about Frank Gore, because if he's out, Michael Pirine wheels up. The Miles got him projected for 13.6 points. I haven't seen anybody project him over 11. So let's go. I think Pirine's fine for cash too if you need a punt. If Frank Gore is out, but you cannot play Pirine and Denzel Mims together in cash. In a GPP, I still hate it, but if you're stacking this game a little bit and you want two cheap run backs with, together, LaMichael Pirine and Mims equal the price of like Tyreek Hill. So you can get two for the price of one, but two shitty guys in the worst offense in the NFL for the price of one Tyreek Hill. It's not a good comparison, but I do like Mahomes a ton in this spot. You like any of these other receivers like McCole Hardman or Demarcus Robinson's 3.1K? Like, you don't need much out of him. If he catches a deep touchdown, that's smashing value right there. Frank Gore is active. Son of a bitch.
I am gonna have some Tyreek Hill there. That range of wide receivers is pretty loaded with ownership when we're talking about Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and then on the lower end, just cheaper than Tyreek Hill is Keenan Allen, who is becoming the chalkiest wide receiver on DraftKings there. Tyler Boyd is in that range as well. AJ Brown. There's a bunch of guys there. So I feel like Tyreek Hill could get overlooked in a spot like this just because everyone knows the Chiefs are going to absolutely bounce the Jets off the field. But you know what? 10 targets last week. He had over 50% of the air yard share there. So if Mahomes goes out and, just wants to have some fun out there, and then it ends up being the CH Lev Bell show, give me Tyreek Hill on a 60 to 70 yard bomb, absolutely burning these guys. And if he could outscore a guy like Keenan Allen or Tyler Lockett, who he's right sandwiched in between there on DraftKings, that could be a key difference in your lineups.
Higbee's active as well. Thanks, William. Appreciate it. This should be Sia, you're fired. But yeah, damn.
I had so much Everett hoping that Higbee was going to be out.
Steve earlier. I don't think we have anything official on Gore. Please, just someone go tell him he needs to retire. He had a great career. We love you, Frank, but it's time for LaMichael Pirine. Florida great. To get some run, even with Frank Gore, I will have LaMichael Pirine in my lineups. I'm not out on him 100%. I'm just not in on him 100% anymore. All right, next game. One of my favorite under the radar games here: Los Angeles Rams at Miami Dolphins. Rams 24.5 implied team total. They're just expected team total on our model has them at like 22. So I think you need to take the Rams implied team total over if you can get that bet. I think they score over 30 points today. I love Jared Goff. I love Cooper Kupp. I love picking on Nick Needham, who is going to be in coverage on Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp is a core play for me today.
Absolutely.
Run it back with the GOAT on the other side.
The GOAT Secchi, especially when there's so much question at this tight end position. Do you go all the way up to George Kittle or Kelsey? There, and the range and the weather conditions are really bad, and his ownership is through the roof. So when we're talking about GPP and not cash, you end up going back to Darren Waller. So why not take Goat Secchi out there and make a little mini stack with Cooper Kupp? I had overlooked this game a little bit. You talked me into it, and I have an absolute ton now. So thank you in advance for that. I will be riding the Jared Goff, the Cooper Kupp train. And I do have a little bit of Darrell Henderson as well. This run defense is absolutely atrocious. Hoping that Sean McVay finally figures it out and ends up just giving this guy a bunch of carries. Obviously, you're going to see Malcolm Brown have 2 carries for 2 yards and 2 touchdowns probably, just because whenever I load up on Darrell Henderson, that's exactly what happens. So be cautious of that and don't get mad if it happens, because Malcolm Brown is one of the leading touchdown vultures in the entire league. But again, Cam Akers has pretty much fallen out of this backfield rotation. Darrell Henderson should be the guy there. And in Tua's debut, you have to question whether he's going to be able to keep up against Aaron Donald and company. So give me Goff and Cooper Kupp. If I'm not playing them, I'm likely having some Darrell Henderson in a bunch of lineups as well.
I'm going to stack them all together. I think Henderson could get some run in the passing game this week. I think we can get a running back screen, take it to the house. You could double stack him with Robert Woods. Robert Woods has tougher matchups on the outside with Jones and was it Xavier Howard's the other guy, Byron Jones, right? So very good corners there, but Woods does see the slot too, so he'll see some Nick Needham, and Robert Woods is going to get his 2 jet sweeps. What does he do with them? Yeah, Josh Reynolds is 3,100. He's usually on the outs. He'll go with a slot too. Like, this Rams offense is so much fun to watch for me, being a football nerd. I love watching how they run the play action and how just people they scheme them open, and that's what's going to happen for Cooper Kupp today. So I love Goff and Kupp. That's probably my second favorite pairing for GPPs, because I'm going to Seattle and San Fran for every other piece of exposure that I could do. But when I'm not using Russell or Garoppolo, Jared Goff is my number 3 quarterback for GPPs. No one's going to play him. He's going to be like 0% owned. Cooper Kupp's going to be under 10% owned. He's got a 5.5 catch prop. The juice is on the under. So I love putting a nice bet on the Rams to cover the spread. I love it on Cooper Kupp over 5.5 catches. I'm all in on Cooper Kupp today. Moving on, Gaskin. You like any love for Gaskin? I think if you game stack this one, sharp money is on the over. Like 95% of the bets are on the over, or on the money. Not 95% of the bets. 95% of the money is on the over in this game, which is very comforting for me, because I do think it shoots out a little bit. No idea what to expect from Tua, but you think he gets a ton of dump offs to Myles Gaskin and then our boy Mike Goatsecki?
I think it's going to be Goatsecki. Tua at Bama, love targeting the slot. So hopefully Goatsecki ends up not lining up right next to the offensive line, get him out in the slot. Yeah, if the more he gets out there in the slot, the better it is for him. I just can't get behind Myles Gaskin at 15+% ownership. He's trending into the same range as guys like Gio Bernard, Josh Jacobs, like pretty much the bottom of that tier that we always talk about. Jamal Williams, Hunt, Henry Kamara, and then towards that lower tier, you have Bernard and Jacobs at 15%, and Gaskin's right up there with them. So I just can't get behind that. He won't be able to run against this defensive line. Aaron Donald's going to absolutely eat him up. So give me the Mike Gesicki longer throws versus the Gaskin dump offs here.
Yeah, Kabloom makes a great point here. This is something that I'm doing today. I love the early only slate because, one, all the weather's in the early games for the most part, and that's going to push people towards playing Patrick Mahomes. I still think we'll see a little bit of Burrow and Ryan Tannehill ownership in that slate. Nobody's going to play Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp on that early only slate. So if you want to avoid the late game hammer that everybody is going to be playing with Seattle and San Fran, I think if you want to get different in a early only GPP on a small slate, Goff and Kupp, Gesicki, Henderson, those would be my guys. And then, go get Kareem Hunt, go get Derrick Henry, go get Devontae Adams, however you want to move that lineup. I think that is the best way to go about this early only slate. I trust the model. I trust the Rams here to get it done. But yeah, I think that's a really good way to go about it. If all your afternoon stacks are in, or your main slate stacks are reliant around Seattle and San Francisco, which is probably a great, great idea. That's how mine are for the most part. Go get Goff then in the early only slate if you don't trust it for the main slate, because Russell and company are probably just going to go nuts like they always do. So there you go. I think that's a great idea, Kabloom. That's really good thinking, man. Moving on, the Chargers at Denver. I want nothing to do with this game. People that have 30% ownership on Keenan Allen could take it. I respect the hell out of Bryce Callahan, the slot corner for Denver, is now in the slot as the outside guy that came back for Denver? Sorry, I should know this. AJ Bouye is back. That's why. So Bryce Callahan was playing the outside for most of the season, and they had a 5'7" rookie playing the slot, and that's where I did, if he was still there, it's like Mbase or something like that. Is some crazy name to spell. Keenan Allen would absolutely trash him, but Bryce Callahan, I think this is for all the people going to Keenan Allen is why I love Hunter Henry so much. I know he broke our hearts last week, Ghost. You would have had a monstrous day if Henry did anything, but if 30% of the field is going to Keenan Allen, I am going to go to Hunter Henry because I don't think Keenan Allen's matchup is that good. He's still going to get 10 targets. He's an excellent route runner. He's a stud. Dude's got swagger through the roof. I just love watching him play. Melvin Gordon revenge game. I would love Melvin Gordon today if Philip Lindsay wasn't there. But yeah, Melvin Gordon's still in play season long. You definitely got to play him. Unfortunately, he's like my RB2 in my season long league because everybody got hurt. But what do you think about that? I'm not playing Herbert. I respect Denver's defense way too much. 10% of the field's on Herbert. That's an easy fade for me. Seems like everybody's going Herbert, Keenan Allen stacks again, which won you a shit ton of money last week. So I get it, but too much recency bias, and Keenan Allen should not be 30% owned.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. I mean, in cash, you could kind of eat it just because if he ends up being 30+% owned, then and he ends up doing well, then okay. Whereas if he absolutely flops, then it's good for your GPPs. It won't hurt you in cash because so many people are going to have him. Right now, I actually don't even have Keenan Allen in my cash lineup. I just don't see it.
I'm fading.
Justin Herbert has some moderate games. They're the exact opposite of establishing the run this team ever since Austin Eckler went down. So I could see him throwing the ball a ton here. He actually rushed a lot last week too. But again, the defensive matchups one-on-one just aren't that good. If there is a piece that I'm going back to, I can't believe it after the amount of money that we could have won if Hunter Henry did anything at all. I am going right back to him. You know what? Every single tight end that was active caught a touchdown pass, except Hunter Henry. He did almost have one and then ended up getting a holding penalty. So give me Hunter Henry. He has so many targets out there, and even when he's not targeted or at least statistically targeted, Herbert's looking for him all the time. So give me Hunter Henry over the middle there, and the rest, it's going to be a hard fade for me. I'm not playing Melvin Gordon in this game. I absolutely love this Chargers defense since week one. Nothing I want as part of that Denver offense. I was looking at it last night, very late last night. Might have been the bottle talking there where I was ending up possibly thinking about it. But then, you know what? I woke up this morning and I was like, man, thank God I didn't do anything like that because this game is just a hard fade for me.
You reminded me of Big Daddy when the guy's talking about drinking. The guy goes, hell yes. I think they're in the bar. We're talking about the Jets, the goddamn Jets. All right. You guys know the movie. Yeah, I'm all in on Hunter Henry. Not all in, but you get what I mean. Yeah, that's my pivot off of Keenan Allen chalk. I think it's perfect leverage there. If Keenan Allen doesn't do shit and Hunter Henry has a big day, you're going to get, even if Hunter Henry doesn't have a big day, if you just fade Keenan Allen and he doesn't do much, I think you got a lot of leverage on the field. If 30% is playing him and he duds out, 30% of the field is eliminated in your GPPs. Now you're pretty much playing a cash game to get to the pay line there. Parham Jr. as a G. No. If the XFL opens back up, yeah, let's play him. But no, do not do that.
So mad after that last week.
He ran 3 routes, I think. And he just, and I was texting, because you weren't watching the game. I was just texting. He was like 10 points of Hunter Henry away from 50K. And I was just texting him. I was like, tight end catch, not Henry. Tight end catch, not Henry. Tight end touchdown, not Henry. And vice versa. Yeah, don't play down Parham. New Orleans Saints and Chicago Bears. 25% own Alvin Kamara. I have none, unfortunately. I wish I had a better answer for you as to why. I'm just choosing Derrick Henry and Kareem Hunt. That's it. It's I turn my computer around here. You'll see the flagpole that's out my window is just dead straight. That means it's pissing wind out there. Shouldn't matter to Alvin Kamara at all. Like, that's a perfect game script for him to have a ton of dump offs. I just think this game is going to be so ugly. We see a lot more Latavius Murray than we're used to. And Chicago's turf or grass, whatever it is on Soldier Field, is awful. It's going to make Alvin Kamara a little bit slower. I don't see him being as shifty as he is in the dome, so that's my reason for getting off of him. I don't know if it's a good reason to get off of him. I'm off of him. So what do you think here? I'm not playing anybody else. I guess if you want to play 0% owned Allen Robinson, you could do that, but this is the lowest I've ever seen his receiving prop. It's like 55 yards. So it's literally 40-mile-an-hour winds out there. It's brutal. But Allen Robinson, it's like anytime they do three, I live in Chicago, Clayton, West Side, kind of. Just moved out of South Loop, actually. That's where I was last year. But so I lived right by Soldier Field. So if you ever need a weather for Soldier Field, I was your guy last year. This year, I'm 10 miles away from it. But Allen Robinson, it's anytime they do throw him a deep ball, he doesn't do anything with it. Seems like those are always the ones that are getting picked. So he's not going to get deep balls, but he does run a lot of short routes. So he could get 6-7 catches here. I think if you want anything to do with Allen Robinson, just bet his catch prop. That's it for me. Kamara, what's your take on Kamara? Because he's probably the number one talking point on this game.
I mean, I have a bit. It's just it's not that I don't like to play. It's just I'm just so in love with playing Derrick Henry and Kareem Hunt, and $2,000 cheaper you could get a guy like Jamal Williams. So he kind of ends up getting the short end of the stick there in my MME exposure. He does have a 6.5 reception prop. He's minus 225 to score. So some massive props there for Alvin Kamara. That's the thing. Like I feel like every week he's minus 225, whether he was playing a D3 college team or he was playing the best defense in the history of the NFL, he would be minus 225 to score. So I get people that are playing it. It's a good spot. Just at that amount of ownership, you know what? If he was the guy like Dalvin Cook, which is pretty much why I'm playing Dalvin Cook, where he's trending into the 4 or 5% range, and he was the forgotten man out of this group of running backs, then I could say, okay, I'll be overweight on Alvin Kamara, just because it won't take much for me to get there. But right now, sitting at 20+% ownership, I rather just not even go up to Derrick Henry. You actually have to go down to Derrick Henry because Alvin Kamara is more expensive. So it's mainly because of that why I'm slightly underweight. I still think it's a good play. 6.5 reception prop. I mean, that's Devontae Adams, 2019 Michael Thomas territory. So he'll be getting a bunch of dump offs. I just don't know if the touchdown equity is there. You have Latavius Murray that's going to run the ball. Sean Payton has the biggest man crush in the history of man crushes on Taysom Hill. So who knows if he ends up getting a red zone target over Alvin Kamara. That's something that I just don't really want a part of. I'd rather just go Derrick Henry for $200 less. On Chicago, it sucks that the weather's bad in this game because I would have liked to have some Mooney and A-Rob, but Nick Foles is just playing so bad lately, and it's not like Trubisky's been really all that better throughout his career. So that quarterback situation really worries me. I want nothing to do with the Chicago Bears offense at all.
Nice. I'm 100% with you. I think that's a great point. I'd rather go to Dalvin Cook than Alvin Kamara just for the ownership, and pray it works out. Next game, everybody's playing it. Wheels up, Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo. Both of them are the two chalkiest quarterbacks on the slate. I think for good reason. For Garoppolo, it's the value. For Russell Wilson, it's the ceiling and the floor. Dude, just on another level right now. Stack this game up as many ways as you possibly can, in my opinion. I'm not going to play DJ Dallas. Chris Carson, they said, is a game-time decision, 50-50 to play, whatever that means. I guess that's pretty straightforward. He's 50-50 to play. But, I mean, you're either good to go or you're not. So we'll see what happens. But I love Russell Wilson, the double stack. I think if I had to lean, I'm going with Metcalf. He's more expensive and less owned. I think this is a really good spot for him against Emmanuel Mosley. He will see some Verrett, but Verrett can't keep – none of these guys can keep up with him. Verrett's like 3 ACL surgeries in. He's a really good corner. I do love him, but he's not the same player he was. Emmanuel Mosley is slow. I mean, double stacking him is the best way to go, but it's too damn expensive. So I think my core stack that is not Goff and Kupp is going to be Russell, DK, and then running it back with Brandon Ayuk on the other side. Or Kittle. If you can get both of those guys, get exposure to just if you're getting points on every single drive of this football game, I think that is the best way to build a lineup this week. I think it's just going to continue to climb. Every single drive is the way to build this lineup. Don't just go only on Seattle, get San Fran on the other side, and then in your San Fran stacks, get Seattle on the other side. I think you guys know who to play in this game. Kendrick Bourne's the punt. Ayuk should be 30% owned. I think this dude is just so damn talented. He's going to get peppered with targets. Every single team tears up Seattle secondary. This should be a fun one. You got any interest in Tevin Coleman?
I do.
You do.
Apparently
Let's do it. I'll do
it. He got a boatload of work in practice. Apparently, Shanahan absolutely ran this guy through the ground in practice, based on what some beat writers were saying.
And San Fran beat writers, though, son of a bitch.
And Kyle Shanahan and Tevin Coleman go way back. When everyone was talking about Devonta Freeman over in Atlanta, Kyle Shanahan absolutely loved Tevin Coleman. He brought him over to San Fran. So, you know what? This is his boy. So at 4,000, you could do so much worse than Tevin Coleman. And believe it or not, I actually rather Tevin Coleman than a guy like Kendrick Bourne. The one thing that I will say about Jimmy G is that he's typically a game manager in the sense that you'll pretty much need a career day for him to go 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. If there's ever a day that he can do that, it's probably against the Seattle secondary. But that being said, whenever he gets a rapport with a receiver, he just leads them targets. So if George Kittle ends up getting wide open over the middle multiple times in this game, don't be surprised if you see George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk combined for 25 targets, because those are the two main guys there. For me, a 30% owned Kendrick Bourne it's a very similar fate to me like Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen is actually a good receiver. So I'm completely off Kendrick Bourne here. I just don't see it. I have a little bit of exposure to me, just edge my main single entry build, but I don't really see it. I think Ayuk and George Kittle are going to be open so much, so often that he's just going to pepper those two guys with targets. On the other side, Lockett, Metcalf, flip a coin, end up taking whichever one, get 50% exposure to both. Both these guys are going to feast. I want nothing to do with the Seattle running back carousel, that's for sure. No Greg Olsen for me. That's going to be a hard pass.
That's our fade, dude.
I'm just going Lockett, Metcalf. On the other side, Kittle and Ayuk are the main targets. I do have more Tevin Coleman than Kendrick Bourne, though.
Let's go. I think if Jamal Adams is in, I bump Kittle down a little bit, but the way that they scheme people open, it's just like the Rams offense with Shanahan. So I love it. If you could find a way to double stack Lockett and Metcalf with Russ and Ayuk and Kittle, God bless you. I don't know how you could do it. You're going to have to play Michael P. Ryan. You're going to have to play
Mims.
Your RB1 is probably Giovanni Bernard, and that's a problem. So DraftKings did a hell of a job this week in pricing people up. It should never be easy to build a lineup. This week, it is not easy to build a lineup with this game, but I think that's the best way to go. And Kabloom said it earlier too, playing that 1:00 slate to avoid this game is probably a very good way to go about it as well. But I'm all in on this game. I think Kittle is an absolute smash. I think Ayuk is probably the best point for dollar wide receiver on this slate. The dude is so damn talented. It's going to be fun. Let's recap. Love how quick the show today was. That's what's good when we could just throw a game out. Quarterback, who are the three guys who have the most of? And like maybe go 1 GPP, 2 cash, whatever you want to do. We'll just go through 3 at each position and get the hell out of here.
2 guys that I have the most of probably are going to be the same as you would, which would be Jimmy G and Russell Wilson. Just love that game. Yep. And then number 3, I'll let you have Goff. So I will take Lamar.
All right. Jared Goff is my third for sure. Definitely on Russell Wilson and Jimmy Garoppolo as much as possible. Running back, for me, it's going to be Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Jamal Williams, which is the chalk donkey build, and I never like to do that. So let's get you a low owned is going to be Darrell Henderson for sure.
Nice. I will take Henry, Hunt, and Williams as well. My low owned guy is going to be Dalvin Cook. I have so much Dalvin Cook today. So
I love that. That's a good spot to be. If your lineups are reliant on a low owned Dalvin Cook against Green Bay, I think you're in a good spot there. Wide receivers, for me, it is going to be DK Metcalf. The model's got him projected for like 96 yards. I do not believe I've seen anybody with that projection besides Devontae Adams last week. So, and we saw how that went. That obviously went absolutely nuts. DK Metcalf, Cooper Kupp, I want to say Galladay too. I like him a ton, but it's going to be Brandon Ayuk for me for my 3. Metcalf, Ayuk, Cooper Kupp.
I'll take Lockett since you took Metcalf. I have a bunch of Ayuk as well. And lower owned play, give me Hollywood to go with Lamar.
Oh yeah, Mike Hilton's out. William, our new injury guy, because Sia is fired.
Sia, what's going on?
Yeah, Sia, you're washed up, buddy. You still look good though. Great looking guy. AJ Green too, I think is a good value at the wide receiver position. Marvin Jones. All right, moving on. Tight end. It's going to be easy for me. Kittle, Gesicki, and Darren Waller. And I do love Hunter Henry too. Though I literally have 4. I will have a little bit of Noah Fant. I think someone brought him up earlier. That's or Fant, whatever you say. Sorry, Noah. But those are the 5 tight ends that I'm using right there. I'm underweight on Jonnu. I probably should get some Jonnu in there just because he's so cheap. But those are my 4. And Kelsey too. Like I don't know. I need to find a way to get to Kelsey. Because that coverage is so. Wait till you see it, dude. Kelsey is going to have multiple catches with 5 yards of space in every single direction. He'll just be in a big bubble of open space. I don't know what Greg Williams is doing. He needs to. Never mind. I was going to bring up Bounty Gate. Moving on. What do you got, Ghost?
Give me Kittle, Waller, Kelsey as the top 3, but those are some expensive options. So if you're looking lower down, give me Hunter Henry or Jonnu. I was all over Gerald Everett, but now that's out the window because Tyler Higbee is apparently active. Honorable mention to Noah Fant. I just have this weird feeling about Noah Fant this week.
Mims or Josh Reynolds, GPP. That's disgusting in all formats. I think you just probably eat the chalk with Mims because if he does go nuts, if he doesn't go nuts, if he gets 12 points and Josh Reynolds gets you 2, you need to be on the good side of the chalk there, in my opinion. Honestly, I think a way to get different is just not playing these low price guys. If you can get a mid-tier lineup, I think with a lot of upside, I think that's a good way to go. All right. Thank you all for joining. We greatly appreciate it, and good luck. I love how quick this was. This is money.
This was.
Hopefully
I have time to actually edit our lineups now.
Wow. That's true. Stack up San Fran and Seattle and get after it today, folks. Hit us up in Discord. We'll probably actually have some free time today. No love for Jonathan. No, we love Jonathan Taylor today. Minus 165 to score. His rushing prop is the highest that the 80 model has ever put him at. Not saying it's on Derrick Henry range, but again, rookie running backs off of a bye week. Ooh, best defense. All right, we can do defense.
We got time.
All right.
Take this one?
I see myself. I love the Bears at 2,800 on DraftKings.
Yes.
I don't know why nobody's on them. They're like, again, ownership projections for defense. Who the hell knows how that shakes out? But they're like one of the lowest owned defenses out there. Their defense is really, really good. Like
they look so good the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, they're. I mean, again, the touchdown on Monday night probably padded the stats, but Drew Brees is not going to burn you, especially when he doesn't have Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and Marquez Callaway's out, who is more of the deep threat. You can't throw in this weather outside today. I don't see why the Bears are not like the chalkiest defense on the board today. So I do not evaluate defense often. I think GPP lineups are all about the upside in your skill position players, but give me the Bears.
I love it.
You can actually mention
the Bills. I don't really like, similarly what you just said. I don't really know how you can project for ownership on a defense, but the Bills, cold weather. Cam Newton has a total of 0 weapons on that offense. They've been turning over the ball a ton. I like the Bills a lot, and the Lions. Phillip Rivers, 20 plus kids trick or treating last night all night. They're all hyped up on candy. Give me Lions D. 2,500. Give me Lions D.
All right, Murray or Goddard? Is that Lat Murray, Burke? Gotta let me know quick. I do love Goddard this week for season long, but if this is like your flex play, I think
I'm hoping it's Lat Murray and not Kyler Murray in like a super flex kind of situation. Then you'd be in trouble. But
yeah, it's okay. Lat Murray, standard or PPR? I like this, guys. Get some questions. The more I'm here, the less I'm drinking today. So whatever you got. Appreciate it, Sony. Much love, dude. Lat Murray. Oh, yeah, I know that. PPR or standard or half point. PPR. Man, that changes it. If it was standard, I'd be all in on Lat Murray. What do you like? Dude, that's a tough question.
I don't know. Wentz kind of has this rapport now with Fulgham and Greg Ward's out there. But give me Goddard. Give me Goddard. And in full point PPR, Goddard's been proven to have double-digit targets even when Zach Ertz is in. So if Goddard ends up getting the green light where he's playing 100% of the snaps that he's at least capable to, and he's on a limited account, give me Goddard there.
I'd say go with your gut. I'd lean Goddard by nose. I think both of these guys get you 10 points in a PPR league today. I think Lat Murray finds the box. So I think either way, that should not define your matchup. If it does, come back and yell at us because I think both of us are going with Goddard, but I do like Lat Murray today too.
Charles, we do like the Colts D. I like the Colts D there.
Yeah, definitely. Tomorrow, or tonight. Is it Sunday night game or Monday night game? Philly.
I think it's tonight, prime time against the Cowboys.
Yeah, Goddard's going to play. Anything else? Let's go. Oh, here we go. PPR flex. Mike Williams or Lamb? Oh, dude, that sucks.
Oh boy.
I'm doing everything I can in these weird situations for season long to go pick up Jalen Reagor. So I think that's not a lot of people own him, and most of the leagues I'm in, he was free. So I like that. I guess I'd go with. You got to go with CeeDee Lamb, I think, right? That sucks though.
You got Danucci back there at quarterback.
Baba Danucci.
Yeah, give me CD. Surprisingly, Mike Williams still has a floor of 0, which is pretty much what we've seen throughout his entire career. So give me CD Lamb. Hopefully, he gets peppered with targets over the middle.
Kabloom, literally every post you have are the same questions that keep me up at night. My main lineup right now is Russ Metcalf with Kittle and Bourne, and I do not want to play Bourne. I'm just going to have to get off Derrick Henry or something because I want to play Ayuk. I want the talent. Kendrick Bourne is not that good. He's just a red zone threat. So for Kendrick Bourne to have a ceiling game, it's like 2 or 3 touchdowns because he does kill it in the red zone. But I don't know, dude. Yeah,
it's tough because right now,
you and me sound like if things go right, me and Kabloom are destroying the slate today. But if things go wrong, we could have a sympathy party together, buddy.
See, the issue is that I want Lockett with Kittle and Ayuk, but then it forces you to play Jimmy G at quarterback to get in some other targets that we've spoken about. So you got to end up rolling the dice on Jimmy G or the here to the way to get it done.
All right, Pablo, I'm going Mike Williams. Sorry, I don't know. Philly's pass rush is good. I do not like Danucci. Mike Williams should catch a 40-yard touchdown today. That's my answer. But check out the waiver wire. See if you can get a more safe guy like Jalen Reagor, or I don't know what else would possibly be out there. Maybe Dallas Goedert's out there. I don't know. That's or Tyler Johnson for Tampa Bay. I think it's a dude. That's why I'm going to go with Tyler Johnson, Tampa Bay. The week before Antonio Brown comes back and what's his face? Godwin's out. All right, let's get out of here. We're just mumbling about shit now, but thank you all for joining us. Hit us up on Discord, Twitter, whatever you want to do for some lineup questions. But Kabloom, you and me, buddy, riding or dying on whatever. Every question you had is pretty much the same question I had to myself. So I appreciate it. Ghost, take care, buddy.
Always a pleasure, bro.